Wolf Brother, Chapter 30, Part 2. The forest was hushed, but as Wolf took the lead, he seemed eager and unafraid. Torak plodded behind him, his breath steaming. It was very cold, but thanks to Vedna, he didn't feel it. While he was sleeping, she'd left the new things in his shelter. An under jerkin of duck skin with the breast feathers soft against the skin, a hooded parka and leggings of warm winter reindeer hide, hair fur mittens on a thong threaded through the sleeves, and his old boots deftly patched with tough reindeer shin hide, lined with pine marten fur, and with bands of dogfish skin sewn to the outer soles to improve the grip. Vedna had even unpicked his clan skin from his old jerkin and sewn it to the parka. The band of wolf fur was tattered and filthy, but very precious. It had been prepared by far. Wolf swerved to investigate something, and Torak was instantly alert. A squirrel's tracks, tiny and hand-like. Torak followed the trail as it hopped along between snow-covered juniper bushes, then broke into long, startled leaps and disappeared up a pine tree. Torak threw back his hood and stared about him. The forest was utterly still. Whatever had frightened the squirrel had gone. But Torak was angry with himself. He should have spotted those tracks too. Stay alert. A jay followed them from tree to tree as they pushed on. The sun rose in a cloudless sky. Soon Torak was panting as he laboured knee-deep in dazzling new snow. He decided against snowshoes. They'd make walking easier, but slow him down if he had to move fast. Wolf fared better, as his narrow chest cut through the snow like a canoe slicing water. By mid-morning, though, even he was tiring. The land was climbing steadily, as Krukoslik had said it would. "My grandfather once got close to the mountain," he explained when Torak had woken him in the night, "so close that he could feel it. From here you follow the stream north, and the land climbs till you're in the shadow of the high mountains. Around midday you reach a lightning-struck spruce at the mouth of a ravine. The ravine is steep, too steep to climb, but there's a trail that clings to the western side." "What kind of trail?" Torak had asked. "Who made it?" "Nobody knows. Just take it. That lightning tree, it has the power to protect. It guards the trail from evil. Maybe it will protect you too." "What then? Where do I go then?" Krukoslik had spread his hands. "You follow the trail. Somewhere at the end of the ravine lies the mountain." "How far?" "Nobody knows. My grandfather didn't get far before the spirit stopped him. The spirit always stops them. Maybe you will be different." Maybe, thought Torak, trudging through the snow. If his plan worked, if the world spirit answered his plea, the bear would be destroyed and the forest would survive. If not, there would be no second chances for him or for the forest. In front of him, Wolf raised his head and sniffed. His hackles were up. What had he sensed? A few paces on, Torak noticed that the snow had been brushed off the tips of the branches at about shoulder height. Then he found a juniper sapling with several twigs raggedly bitten off. "Red deer," he murmured. A jumble of tracks confirmed it. By the look of them it was a single deer, probably a buck. They don't pick up their feet as high as hinds do, and Torak saw drag marks in the snow. But if it was only a deer, why were Wolf's hackles up? Torak looked round. He could feel the forest holding its breath. The bear tracks leapt out at him from the snow. He hadn't seen them before because they were so widely spaced, but now he made out the signs of the buck's panicky leap down the slope below, with the bear tracks racing after it. The length of stride was horrifying. Struggling for calm, Torak forced himself to study the trail. The bear had been going at a gallop, as the pattern of prints was reversed, with the man-shaped hind tracks in front of the broader front tracks. Each one was 3 times the size of his own head. "They're fresh," he thought, "but the edges are slightly rounding over. although in this sun that wouldn't take long. Wolf jumped over the tracks, keen to press on. Torak followed more slowly. Every bush and boulder took on bear form. As they toiled up the slope, Wolf became more and more excited, bounding ahead, then doubling back for Torak and urging him on with little grunt whines. Perhaps at last they were nearing the mountain. Perhaps that was why Wolf was eager rather than frightened. Torak wished he could share that eagerness, but all he could feel was the weight of the Nanook at his belt and the menace of the bear. A distant roar split the forest. The jay gave a squawk and flew away. Torak gripped the hilt of his knife so hard that it hurt. How close? Where was it? He couldn't tell. Wolf was waiting for him to catch up, hackles raised, but tail held high. His meaning was clear. Not yet. As Torak waded through the snow, he wondered what had happened to the bear's own souls. After all, as Wren had said, it was still a bear. Once it must have hunted salmon and browsed on berries and slumbered through the winter. Were its souls still inside its body, with the demon, trapped, terrified? He rounded a boulder, and there was the lightning-struck spruce. His spirits quailed. Above him, the high mountains swept skywards, blindingly white. The ravine cut through them like a knife slash. On and on it wound into the mountains, its end lost in impenetrable cloud. A narrow trail clung to its western side, snaking up from where Torak stood. Who had made the trail? For what purpose? Who would dare set foot in it and venture into that haunted place? Suddenly, the clouds at the end of the ravine parted, and Torak saw what lay beyond. Storm clouds writhed about its flanks. A deep, windless cold flowed from its summit. Unimaginably high, it pierced the sky. The mountain of the world spirit. Torak shut his eyes, but he could still feel the power of the spirit forcing him to his knees. He could feel its anger. The Soul Eaters had conjured a demon from the other world. They had loosed a monster on the forest. They had broken the pact. Why should the spirit help the clans when some among them had been so wicked? Torak bowed his head. He couldn't go on. He didn't belong here. This was the haunt of spirits, not of men. When he opened his eyes, the mountain was gone, once more shrouded in clouds. Torak sat back on his heels. I can't do it, he thought. I can't go up there. Wolf sat in front of him, his tear-shaped eyes as pure as water. Yes, you can. I'm with you. Torak shook his head. Wolf gazed steadily back at him. Torak thought of Wren and Finkedin and the ravens, and of all the other clans that he didn't even know about. He thought of the countless lives in the forest. He thought of far, not far as he lay dying in the wreck of their shelter, but far as he'd been just before the bear attacked, laughing at the joke Torak had made. Grief rose in his chest. He drew his knife from his sheath and slipped off his mitten to lay his hand on the cold blue slate. You can't stop now, he said out loud. You swore an oath. Tafar. He unslung his quiver and bow and laid them against the tree. Then he did the same with his pack, his sleeping sack, water skin and axe. He wouldn't need them. Just his knife, the Nanook in the raven skin pouch, and Wren's little birch bast bundle in his medicine pouch. With a last glance at the forest, he followed Wolf up the trail. In the next chapter, we have a really exciting confrontation on the mountain.